Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Disney Dialogues, our time where we sit down and have a little chat with you with these amazing people that support our community. Jen, hello. Good to see you tonight. Looking lovely with your ears, as usual. I would never look good in ears.
We should try it sometime.
Let's put that on the back burner.
No, you wouldn't look good in ears.
No, I would not look good in ears. I know that very well. We get to go again another night with Dialogues here as we sit down. Gary Pilla on the show tonight, a great artist that I actually met several years ago. Someone who's not a Disney fine artist yet, and I say yet because when you look at his skills and you look at what he does tonight with his sculpting and his artistry, he needs to be out there with some of those great people down at the Festival of the Arts. That'll be the greatest day when you and I can walk up. You're eating a Dole Whip and I've got an ice cream in hand, and Gary looks at us two and say, "Hey, what are you guys up to?" That'll be great.
And there's a little bit of a Cleveland connection that I'm interested in hearing more about. So
that is true. That seems to be a thing lately. There's always a Cleveland connection, so I don't know.
We are not the mistake on the lake. I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely not. Well, you know what? Let's get into it tonight here. I'd like to, if you do a great job every week when we do our shows, or I shouldn't say every week, but every show that we do, of doing a great hello. I'm going to have Jen do that tonight. We want to say a general hello to everybody watching in the chat. We see you out there, but we want to get to our guests. Put your comments or your questions for our guests in there, highlighted at Pete McDevitt Show. I'll do the best to get to them. If for some reason we can't get to it during the show, after the show is over, leave it in the comment section. We'll make sure that it gets to Gary, and we'll make sure you get an answer back on it. So, Jen, if you want to start us up, I think while you're doing a little bit of the introduction here, I am going to share with our guest watching in the chat some of his great artistry, and I'm going to try something different tonight. Gary has so much great art that a lot of people have not seen, that they're going to be finding for the first time tonight. I have loaded a lot of the slides with Gary's art. So as we go through the interview tonight, everybody, you're going to be seeing pieces in there. If you see something you love, something you're blown away with, make sure, put it in the chat. Leave a comment in the chat so Gary can see about it. So, Jen, I'm done rambling. I'm going to turn it over to you for another introduction of a great guest.
All right. Tonight, we have the pleasure of welcoming an incredibly talented artist whose creative journey blends imagination, storytelling, and a lifelong love of Disney. Our guest is a Disney fan art artist and sculptor
Hmm.
whose work captures the magic and emotion that Disney fans around the world connect with so deeply. Professionally, he has built an extraordinary career as an executive level creative director, working with everyone from small brands and mom and pop businesses to some of the biggest companies in the world. His expertise spans branding, creative direction, art direction, and copy direction, and his work has earned more than 80 awards across multiple mediums, including digital, traditional, and experiential creative.
It's awesome.
His career his career has taken him across the country, living and working in cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, Gainesville, Cleveland, and Portland, while executing creative projects in over 21 countries around the world.
Wow.
Along the way, he has started 3 companies, has 11 patents pending, that's amazing, and even has an animated cartoon to his credit.
Hmm.
But beyond all of the professional accomplishments, Disney has been a lifelong passion with more than 200 visits to Disney parks and counting. That passion has helped shape his work as a Disney fan artist and sculptor, and he has even had the privilege of building connections with several Disney legends who have influenced his journey. Yet, as impressive as all of those accomplishments are, he will tell you that they pale in comparison to the life he has built with his wife and their 4 amazing children. Love hearing
Awesome.
that.
I love it.
Please join me in welcoming our guest, Gary Pilla, to the show.
Gary, hello.
Hey guys, how are you?
Oh, doing good, bud. Good to see you. Welcome back onto the channel for
Nice to
second
see
time.
you.
Absolutely.
I'd
It's
like to meet that guy.
yeah. You like to meet
That
the
must
guy
be a
you
heck
just
of a
talked
guy.
about? That that's pretty good. You should, make sure you take an audio copy of that and you could play that when you walk into the room.
Right,
Uh,
right.
remind everybody. So, well, I tell you
Well,
what,
thank you.
I'm excited tonight because your journey I've been following for a couple years, and it's many people that don't know. We'll kind of highlight it a little later in the show. Before I ask Gary, the first question is: I started talking to Gary close to 4 to 5 years ago now. When I first started the channel, I found his art one day when he was doing his sculpting. And everybody knows I'm a huge Roger Rabbit nut with all the Roger Rabbit stuff behind me. And I reached out to him one day and said, "Hey, can you do that?" And we started talking, and I ended up Gary was actually one of the first people, artists, or outside of just Disney social media creator that I interviewed, and his interview is kind of the inspiration for what started and has become Disney Dialogue. So I thank you for that. If not for you, we
Mhm.
might not be doing the show. So thank you for that so
Oh,
much. So uh,
no, that's great. That's great. And the show's great. I love it.
awesome. Well, let's start out with just a simple, just from the start introduction to anyone out there who might be, watching from our audience tonight that has never met you, and then we'll kind of dig into all the great stuff we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm Gary, Gary Pilla, and I love to make things. I mean, that's really what my life has been all about. Whether it's TV commercials or designing a room, and I've always been very good with my hands and coming up with ideas. I guess I got that from my father, and just had this lifelong craziness for journey with Disney, and I just can't get away from it. I just love it, and if I can make things that are Disney centric that put a smile on somebody's face, I've had a good day.
I absolutely love that. Love it, love it, love it.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, before we dive into the incredible artistry and creative work that you've done, I want to take a step back for a second. And could you share with us where your love of Disney first began? Was there a moment, a movie, a
Yeah.
park visit, or something that really sparked that lifelong passion for
Oh, there's
Disney in your
definitely a
life?
moment. Yeah, my first trip to Disney World was in 1979, and I was 10. So
Wow.
now everybody home's going, he's this old. Yeah, so I am that old. Um, but so I mean, I was always drawing. I was always, whether it's Spider-Man or Mickey or whatever. My father was an art director. My grandfather was an artist. So I had the bug. But it was on that first trip where everything changed. I mean, every single thing that I saw, smelled, experience on that trip just changed me. It affected me. You know what you're like when you're like 10 years old. That's when you really start to, decide, or at least dream about what you will be when you're older. And they used to have an attraction called the Mickey Mouse Review, which is now gone. That's
Hmm.
actually I believe it's in Tokyo now. And it was this amazing thing. It was all animatronic. Mickey came out from under the stage and he conducted the whole band, and the whole band were all the Disney characters.
Wow.
And I was so taken by this. And we went home, and I had these little banks, these little head banks. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with these. They're from the 70s. There was Mickey, Donald, there was a
Hmm.
Goofy and a Pinocchio, and I had them all. And I also had these NFL steel garbage cans, which were big in the 70s. And I turned them upside down, and I put their heads on top of them, put them at different levels. I found, like, some wedding suits that I had, or a communion suit, and I put them around them, and I put a little turntable behind him, and I made my own little Mickey Mouse Review in my bedroom at 10.
That's cool.
But that was because of that trip, and after that I just couldn't get enough. And I always wanted to work for the mouse at some level. And yeah, it all started then.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Great. And everybody's commenting so many comments about this, your sculptures here, and great sculptures, amazing sculptures. Jeannie and Debbie jump into the chat. Thank you guys for doing that. That's a great
Thank you.
question.
Mhm.
Great question,
Yeah.
Ken.
Thank you.
Great question. So, Gary, many people who are new to the Disney art world hear the term Disney fan art, but may not really fully realize how large and influential this genre really is. For those who
Yeah.
may be unfamiliar with it, could you share your perspective on what Disney fan art truly is and the impact it has within the broader art community? And I can't stop looking at Tigger. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you, thank you very much. Fan art is a crazy thing. There are so many incredible artists that do what's called fan art, not just for Disney, but could be for anything. There are so many artists that are at an insane level that maybe they don't get recognized. Maybe they just
Mhm.
love to gift stuff or do murals on walls. But
Mhm.
basically, it's fans that are creating stuff that's not officially licensed. And that's what I started doing about 6 years ago now, and that was with sculptures. And it's one of these things where I create things that are one of a kind pieces. Okay, like this Pinocchio right here. This is a one of a kind piece,
That's awesome.
and this one is not officially licensed. Okay. Now, if I started tomorrow, making a mold for this and making hundreds of them and whatever, then I wouldn't just be a Disney fan artist. I would be a thief. And, Disney would not appreciate that.
Right.
But I make one of a kind pieces, and you can do that as a fan artist as long as you're not, creating, you know, one-offs of things and make them crazy. Now, this is actually an official licensed piece by Disney. This is the first piece I had licensed by Disney. This can be found in the Disneyana Galleria,
We're going to be talking
and
about that
this is
to a little bit later tonight.
okay. Good. This is one piece that's not a fan art piece, but fan art is, I mean, it is just monstrous. There's even, like, I've never been to them, but there's like conventions
There's
for it
conventions, yeah.
or whatever, and it's just a way to showcase what you do if you're not official.
I love that. Ken, look, there's Figment over there. I just let you know.
Yeah. I love
Boy,
Figment.
everybody loves Figment.
She is.
Everybody loves Figment.
She's a Figment fan. So, speaking of Figment,
Oh, there we go. There's Figment. So, as a follow up to this conversation, I understand that much of the art you create is done as a one of a kind piece and often on demand. So,
Yes,
could you talk a little bit about that
yes.
process and what it's like to create something so unique for each collector? And then, how does that direct interaction with the person purchasing the piece help you bring their vision to life?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's what I love the most. A lot of time daily I do what's called studies. Okay, I'm just doing quicker pieces, They're not huge in size, but it helps me try new techniques, things that I enjoy. But the on demand stuff, that's when someone comes to me and there's something special so that they want to commemorate. It could be this Beauty and the Beast behind me I just finished the other day. It's almost 5 feet wide. That is to celebrate someone's fifth anniversary, which was cool. And if you look at the image, what's unique about that image is it has the library behind them. They don't dance in front of the library, but they have this big connection through books.
Hmm.
They're big readers, and they have a library. I doubt their library is that significant, but they wanted to find a way to make that come across. So that's why I put them in front of the library, that the Beast gifts to Belle. Um, I've also done some things where it actually can be very sad while I'm making things. I've done memorials for people that have left too soon. I made a piece which was a frame, and there was this young man. He was an incredible thespian, and he died very young. I think he was 17,
Ooh.
and all the characters he had played were Disney characters when he was on stage. So there's a Jafar in there, there's a LeFou in there, there's a Scar, and all these characters actually surround him, his face. And that, I'll get messages sometimes. People ask me to do these things, and after I take a second and catch my breath, I'm like, well, of course. Yeah, so there is definitely an emotional journey in a lot of things that I do, and the fact that somebody has something on their shelf for years that they can look at and make them feel so special. That's something that I really live for. I really do.
That's great. I love that. Love that. Well, we were talking about this just a minute ago, and now we're going to
There it
dig
is.
into it a little bit deeper here. As Gary was highlighting, we want to talk about his artistic journey is really interesting because it started in the world of advertising, has grown into something truly special, including this opportunity that you had to work with the Gallery of Disney in Denmark. Can you walk us through this journey and how that came to fruition?
Yeah, this was really cool because of just how it just came out of the blue. I was in. I'm trying to remember where I was. Okay, I was in. What the heck is the name of the town? I was here in Florida. I'm trying to remember the town. Destin, Florida. That's what it was. Destin,
Yes.
Florida. And it was in 2020 when COVID was just crazy. Everything was closed, and I was like, well, let's just go somewhere. Everything was cheap. We got an amazing room for like $60, and I'm just relaxing. And I get this message from this gentleman in Denmark that has seen my work, and what I was doing is I was just putting work online to see what people thought of it. Really,
Mhm. Right.
and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you'd be amazing. We get to have you make this Donald for us." And this Donald is really cool. It's a design based on Karl Barks, the great Karl Barks work, which was then refined by Patrick Block. Patrick
Hmm.
Block is an illustrator that worked with Karl for years, and so it was his design, and then I sculpted it out of clay. The first version that they made of him was actually in bronze. They made 10 of them in bronze,
Wow.
and that was super cool. I don't have one of those, and pretty pricey, but that was very very cool. And then they just released the resin version of it, and yeah, I'm very proud. It's nice to have my artwork and the Disney symbol on there. So hopefully this is the beginning of lots more to come.
I love that. Well, uh, our good friend Zippy Doo Doug, who is a Donald Duck uh, obsessionist, let's go with that word. He's asking,
Obsessionist.
how much are they? And uh,
Um, honestly, I don't know the exact number, but I'll give you like a ballpark. I believe there's a limited edition of 10 of these that come with everything you see on the screen there. Oh, it sounds like a commercial. Comes with everything you see on the screen. But it's got there's an illustration by Patrick, and there's pieces that are signed by us, and I think that might be 400 to 500.
Mhm.
There's only 10 of those, but then there's like 100 of them, and that might be a little bit less. It comes in an amazing case, but the bronze ones, I think those might be
5,000.
6 or 7. and dollars
Yeah,
for
I
those.
I heard 5 in the articles, a couple of the articles that I read, so it might have gone up by now.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it
There we
is a
go.
great, it is a great
No, it's a
business.
that's a deal. That's much less than what I said.
There you go. Well, if you can find it, they're probably going to find it for 7 because the article I read was a little bit, a little bit had some time to it. So things go up in price and
Gotcha.
value for sure. I also want to remind everybody before Jen takes over the next question that the all of Gary's links are being dropped into the chat during this stream. They're also for anybody watching on a replay. If you can't get to the chat, all of his links are posted in the description of this video. So if you want to reach out to him for a project or a piece that you like, I highly encourage it. I stand behind his work 100%. Absolutely. You won't be disappointed
Thank you.
with that for sure.
It looks
Thank
like
you.
you're buying the bronze one, by the way. It looks like in the chat you've been voluntold to buy the bronze one.
Oh,
So
okay.
just
Let me get right on that.
That's right. Get two.
So you shared that one of the goals of your artwork is to create a magical experience for the people who see it or bring it into their homes. Could you elaborate a little bit on that vision? And what is the aspirational goal you hope your artwork achieves for those who experience it?
Well, so I've been very, very lucky on this journey of the artwork that I've made a ton of friends. I mean, it's like you look at the amount of followers that I have, and it's a stupid number. But a lot of these people have become friends,
Mhm.
and when they come visit, I'll meet them for a meal, and hang out. One of my friends, we've actually spent a whole day with my family and their family at the park. So it's become very rewarding from that standpoint. But just to know that I can create something for someone that will be in their home for a very long time. It's not just something that's like, oh, look what we picked up at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, for
Mhm.
$25, which probably looks pretty good. But this is something that is unique.
Mhm.
It's going to be one of a kind. You're not going to see what I make for you anywhere else. That's the truth. I've done some things where I'll combine characters that you would typically never seen. I've done some mashups. I did a mashup last year that was super fun. It was Jack and Sally dressed as Beauty and the Beast dancing, and so
Oh,
that
wow.
was yeah, that was a fun one to do. So yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Actually, I have something here next to me I want to show you.
Please.
Hopefully,
Oh, boy.
hopefully it's too big for the camera.
What was he blocking?
What was he
What was he
blocking?
sitting in
I knew
front
that.
of?
Oh, my God. Look at that. That is cool.
That's
I'll
ginormous.
show you what I was blocking in a second. So this is an Easter egg,
That's cool.
and there's 8 of these, and for a friend,
I
and
hadn't seen
and
those. That's
I'll
cool.
show you what I was blocking in a second. Um, there's 8 of those, and those are huge. There's 20-inch, 24-inch, and 36-inch eggs for a friend of mine who's going to go in their yard, and it's the Dalmatian puppies, and we'll have Pongo Perdita and Cruella. So these are very, very unique things
That's cool.
that I make for people.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's super fun. Were you referring to the Mickey behind me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She sees that every.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That would be it. Look
So
at
that
that.
guy right
I can
there, I'm
even
going to
see the
tilt that.
whole thing and it's gorgeous. Oh
Wow.
wow.
So
Wow.
that's 60 inches high. That's
Wow.
a Yeah, that's a fun one. He's pretty big.
That's just stellar.
He's
The
a
And
big
that's a
color.
one of a
boy.
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of a kind. Yes.
Your
And
colors, Gary, your colors there, obviously traditional, what is expected for Sorcerer Mickey, but your colors, your shadowing there, your usage of graphics and all around him to highlight, that's
Hmm.
spectacular. I absolutely love it.
thank you.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
And I should also throw out there to everybody something that this is very passionate to me. Um, when I reached out to Gary about doing this interview and he was 100% in, we just started kind of reminiscing and catching up with how his life was going, how ours was going. And I brought up our charity that we work with. Last year, we raised $13,000 for veterans in need through Semper Fi. And I brought it up
Hmm.
to Gary. He says, "Hey, send me a little bit on that." So we
Yep.
talked for a little bit, and we've already raised $3,100 this year on our first stream on it. And I said to Gary, hey, love, we're very proud of this. And he said, I want to be a part of it. So, um, as you guys are out there and thinking about, hey, I'd like to get a piece, and you're looking for an artist, this is the man to reach out to, because he's a core part of our community ever since I've been around. But he also just stepped right in and said, I'm going to throw you something for the event that you'll be at. We will give, put Gary's piece in that will be rewarded or handed to someone at our July event. And the way you get it is very simple. Every time you donate $20 between now and, or between the May and July timeframe, then your name will get entered in. And I guarantee you, hanging a pillow piece on your wall, it really makes things go good. So Gary, so I thank you
Mhm.
for your
Absolutely. I'm
generosity and caring.
proud.
Mhm.
Yep. Proud to
Absolutely.
do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely love that. All right. Oh, and by the way, highlighting these pieces real quick, Jen. You can't think about Disney history in my mind without obviously Walt, but Dick Van Dyke, and that's celebrating his
Yes.
100th. That's awesome. Absolutely love that
That's
piece.
just
Thank
an
you.
iconic look
Yeah.
right there. That is an iconic piece.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, when he reached 100, it was my wife was laughing at me because I did that about a week before he turned 100, and she was like, "You're gonna jinx it."
Oh my lord!
I'm
Well,
like, Kathy, it's gonna be okay. It's
you
gonna
hit the
be okay.
you
Terrible.
hit you hit the colors of that attire from Mary Poppins. You hit it
Mhm.
perfectly. I mean, that's
Thank you
Mhm.
so
that's just a grand slam right there.
Yeah.
That's stellar. Okay,
100%.
let's keep things moving. Ratatouille up top and a great little mini right there. When we talk about influences in an artist's journey, those inspirations, they often come from very meaningful places. I understand that two individuals in your family had a tremendous impact on your life and your artistic path. Could you share a little bit about who they are and how they influenced your journey? This is a great story, everybody. I've known about this for a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, my father is was still hard for me to say was. He passed away a year and 3 months ago
Mhm.
now, and I'm one of those guys that just had this, you know, incredible relationship with his father, and he was everything to me. I mean, to me, it's like if there was a person that could do no wrong, it was him. Even though
Mhm.
I'm sure he did, but I didn't see it,
Hmm.
and just he was just. I mean, the intro that you did for me, you'd probably still be talking about him, the amount of things he accomplished in his career as an artist, and TV commercials. He did. He worked on the original with a name like Smucker's. It has to be good. And
No.
yeah, yeah. And so he was an icon in advertising, and it's funny. I just recall this. When you're at that kind of bratty age, that I might still be in, but when I was young, I remember sitting on my bed and we would draw together, right? And his strength was not drawing. I mean, he could draw, but not like his gift was ideas and craftsmanship. That was his thing. But I remember just going, man, I draw better than you. I was like 7 years old. I'm like, oh gosh, what are you doing to this guy? Um, but just I'm telling you, all the way, when he was very sick in the fall of 2024, he was sitting on the couch and we were talking, and he was just like, "Is this all there is?" He was just upset that he couldn't make anything, that he couldn't do anything. And it wasn't about, I can't go have a good meal, I can't watch this TV show. He wanted to actually make something. He was so creative. There was not, I mean, he was always thinking and always doing something. And uh, that's kind of how I am. And yeah, that was an amazing thing being his son, for sure.
Love it.
Um, so I do think about it when I create something that may have come out better than I thought it might. I think about Dad, and when the Donald came out, I wish Dad was here to see that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Very
Pretty
cool.
cool for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah.
I
And now
love
that
that.
I've brought everybody down, there's nobody watching anymore. And so an interesting story. My son Matthew is a tremendous inspiration to me. Um, it's he actually Matthew is the one that made me paint. It's just funny. So in 2020, when I was like, okay, I want to see if I can sculpt, uh, kind of a thing hit me because of COVID. He said, "Dad, I know you can paint," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "No, I know you can paint," and I go, "Yeah, I can paint." He goes, "Trust me, you can do it." It's my dad. This is my son.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then I just started painting, and he comes in the house and he's like, "You see, you
That's
see
great.
there?" And yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about this now, but Matthew was the one that got us connected with the gentleman that started the archives,
Okay, Dave Smith.
Dave Smith,
We're going to talk about Dave in just a little
which,
bit. I'm going to hold you on that one because
Pause.
we got a
yep,
whole thing to talk about Dave
okay,
with that.
so we'll
So
tease that. We'll tease
we'll come back to Matthew and David in a minute. Before I jump on the next segment, I want to do two quick things. One, I love the fact that you brought up the Smuckers tie-in with your dad, because I actually sat in a room with Richard Smucker, and he told me the story about how his father. The story for that tagline came because they were in a boardroom meeting one day trying to go over things, and literally they were kind of going back and forth over what should be their moniker going. And literally his dad said, "Come on, with a name like Smuckers, it's got to be good." And everybody
that.
went, "Oh my God, there it is." And he was
Mm-hmm.
just getting mad at everybody at the board table. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool with that. But that
Mm-hmm.
takes me also into a tie-in that I know my incredible broadcasting partner. There's an Ohio tie-in, and she wants to know a little bit about your Ohio tie-in. So I'm going to step out for a second and just let you chat about that and make her day.
Hey, I thought it was Cleveland, not just Ohio. Come on, that's too general.
Oh, I'm sorry, my fault.
It is Cleveland. So I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and I spent my first 40 years in Cleveland, and I became very what's the right word to not offend people from Cleveland? Just disheartened by everything that was going on in Cleveland at that time. I worked for a large advertising agency, and the ad agencies were beginning to die out in Cleveland at that point. And I said to
Mhm.
my wife, I said, Cleveland's not going to support our children. And so at that point, I just put myself out there to try to see if I could maybe get a job at one of the cities where advertising was still booming. And it happened. I was able to get out to Portland for a few years, which I enjoyed. Glad I'm not there now, but I enjoyed it then. And but Cleveland, my most of my family's still there. I have a great love for the people in some of the areas. Cleveland to me was just like, even though it's not 100% true, it's like there's a cloud over it, for all these bad things that would happen. I'm a huge sports fan, and I was at Red Right 88 in 1980 and cried all the way home. I cried again in 1986 when John Elway did it to us. Again in
No way.
'87, and the shot with Michael and all this stuff. And
Hmm.
I, when I got older and I started visiting other cities, and there would be these games on or whatever, and their teams were winning, and there was never any of this stuff. And I go, what is this? What does this feel like? I don't understand. It was so disturbing to me that we didn't have that. And we got it in 2016, which was amazing. But yeah, just everything was just making me nuts about Cleveland. And even now, when I go back to see family, which I love, I just look, because it's literally gray in Cleveland from October to April. You don't see the sun at all, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm having PTSD. I gotta go back to Florida.
Oh no, the sun was out today. It was beautiful. It was
Look,
only
Well,
30
there,
degrees, but it was beautiful.
oh yeah,
oh,
see, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's funny, because
Hmm.
Cleveland will tease you, right? You'll get these beautiful days in
Hmm.
February, and you'll be like, okay, here comes spring, and then it will just get you again. It'll grip you. And I think it was one year, it was like May, and we still had snow on the ground.
Hmm.
there you go.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's tough. The people that are in shape in Cleveland, Ohio, are the most motivated human beings on earth, because they have to get off the couch, stop watching Netflix, and go out and either walk around or go to the club. But
there
here,
you
all
go.
you do is open the door, and all year round you walk. It's just, you don't need as much push.
Well, the next time you come there, Jen, take him to that bakery, that crazy bakery, and make him happy. That's all,
What, Presties?
The oh
Presties?
oh the Colazas.
Colossus.
Oh,
Oh my God. Oh my God. So,
oh, you
all right,
got it.
let's
You
keep
got it.
going. We talked about this, Jen. Let's take it a little further. This is an amazing story.
Yep. Okay, now we can finish telling this story. You've shared that a Disney legend played a very meaningful role in your life and also helped inspire your son to develop a love and appreciation for Disney history. So, could you talk a little bit about that Disney legend and how their influence impacted both your life and your son's journey with Disney?
Yeah, Dave, what a great guy, and I never would have met Dave if it was not for my son. And my son, when he was 13 years old, this is a true story, 13 years old, he wanted to work for Disney. This was, and he's now 30 years old, and he decided to draw a Mickey Mouse and write a letter just to Disney, not to Dave, to Disney, and if there was anything he could provide to help him on his path. And he gets a letter back. I can't remember how long it was. Maybe it was a month later. He gets a letter back saying, "Hey, your drawing and your your letter are now in the Disney archives, and here's a pamphlet on the company and whatever. And I would like to stay in touch." And that staying in touch turned into the two of them becoming the greatest of pen pals. And it's so funny that my son ended up doing such incredible things. I mean, they went on a cruise, a Disney cruise. My son was actually at the Ronald Reagan. It was the Disney. Okay, it was the Disney Archives dedication at the Ronald Reagan Library, and he sat at the same table with Bob Iger
Oh my
and
Lord.
all these Disney legends. My son, and so that all turned to us going out, and we were able to tour the archives with Dave and see some just amazing stuff, and the entire lot and everything. And Dave actually, my son was going to film school, my other son, out in Burbank a few years later, and they were friends. And so Dave was always someone that was looking out for us. Not just like, oh, that's someone we know. He was a genuine friend of the family and an amazing mentor to my son. And it was funny because we would talk. I would take Matthew over to his house, and we'd sit on the couch, and I would ask him a million questions, as one Disney nut would do. And I just look at him and be like, "It doesn't bother you, does it, that I keep asking?" He goes, "Oh, no, 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 no." I'm going to drive this guy nuts with
Hearing,
all my
I can hear him
curiosity.
saying that. That's
Oh,
for
yeah,
for
yeah.
those
But
for those who might not know. Let me just put a preface on this. When you talk about Walt Disney history, the history of the origins of the company, to everything included, okay? To me, there are 5 points of pillars that you couldn't have this company without. Walt, Roy, your 9 old men. 9 old men were absolutely key. Okay, there's your three. Lillian is four because people don't
yep,
realize how much of an impact she made. And then five is Dave Smith. Dave Smith is
Mhm.
the Dave Smith. I've got goosebumps going up and down my body right now. Dave Smith is the guy that the Disney company, he came to them and said, "Hey, I want to do this, this, and this to start chronologically putting the history together." And he is the guy. If not for him, if you ever get a chance to tour the archives, you'll be shocked at what they have, but it wouldn't have been done. I would. He's one of the ones that Gary. I don't mind saying, and I told Jen this when we started it. He's one of the ones that I regret. God rest his soul. That I'll never get a chance to interview. That I would have given anything to sit down with. He's that important to
yeah,
history.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I should have prefaced it a little bit for those that don't know, but there was no archiving system at all
Mm-mm.
for Disney. And
Mhm.
Dave started it in 1970, a few years after Walt had died,
Mm-hmm.
and they had nothing. So you figure you went from 1923 all the way to 1970, all that time, brother, during the war, and sent back, and I got to hold that. That was like the coolest thing ever. Um, my son was
Wow,
more excited holding an Oscar, but
that's
but
cool.
yeah, I mean, what a sweet, sweet man. And he lived right around the corner from this. He would walk to work every day. He was at Disney for 40 years.
Yeah, that's it's amazing, and
Mhm,
he's talked about with
mhm.
such reverence by everybody that's following in his footsteps.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
I
great man.
absolutely love it. I love the story about how he wanted to when they wanted to rebuild Walt's office. He went and took all the old pictures that they had and went and found
Hmm.
all the stuff, like you said, in boxes and had to rebuild it. And some of it he had to go buy, and he actually went to yard sales around
Yep.
Disney, around the whole area, trying to find stuff that was actually from the studios that was sold over time. If you read about Dave Smith, there's a couple great books. You'll love it. No, sorry, I could go on all night.
Absolutely. No,
I could
no,
go on
I
all
love
night
it. Yeah,
about Dave. I could go on.
Dave is a wonderful, wonderful moment in my life and in my son's life for sure.
I love it. Well, in past discussions that I've read, you spoke about the importance of angles and textures in your work and how these elements play a role in bringing out the creative inspiration together. Could you talk a little bit just about how these factors influence your artistic process and
Yeah,
when you're creating a piece?
absolutely. Yeah, I try very often to come up with either a new technique or something I've just seen. I'm like, I wonder if I could do that. Um, it, it just it pushes me as an artist. A lot of artists have like their style. Like you'll see a certain
Hmm.
piece of art, you go, oh yeah, that's a Picasso, whatever. And I don't know. I thought about it a lot. Like, would I like if somebody went, "Oh, Gary Pilla did that"? Well, yeah, but I like to just see if there are different types of things that I can do, and that's why I said like daily I do these studies, and I'm trying to think if there's something here. I don't have a ton of examples right here at the moment, but sometimes I just try to introduce, different colors and
Mhm,
things, and like outlining this with
Wow.
different colors that I normally wouldn't do. Normally that would just be a quick outline, but I kept
mhm,
changing the outline as I went around
mhm,
that because I thought
mhm,
that was a fun thing to try. Sometimes I'll just take brushes and I'll shake it at it to try to
mhm,
get a certain texture. I'll
mhm.
dip bubble wrap in something and just like slap it in certain areas just to see if I can get a different type of effect. And
Cool.
and that's always sometimes I'll hit it and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I need to do I need to do a couple pieces like this. And other times I go, oh, that didn't work out at all. Let's try something else.
I love it. I love it. Also, want to note here on the screen that Gary's range in what he does, how he does the different styles and character range. You got Max and Goof here, then you go right down here to Tarzan, and I mean it's just amazing. I love your mix and your variety. So anybody, if
Thank
you're
you. I,
looking for a piece, he can do it.
I really appreciate it. And one of the things I want to point out on that of note is I really enjoy pieces that do show that relationship. I mean, that's father and son, you know, adopted son and mother there.
Yeah,
Those are big, big moments of love. So is the one right above my head. If I can do those things that captures that connection, that's, oh man, I really love doing that.
love it, love it.
So, throughout your career, you've created artwork around so many different characters, both through painting and sculpting. If you had to narrow it down, could you share maybe 5 of your favorite characters to work with and what makes them particularly fun or meaningful for you as an artist?
Sure, absolutely. Mickey would be number one. Mickey, it's just, I don't know why. I mean, Mickey Mouse is the simplest character probably ever created. Okay. He's so simple. And if you look at certain characters that have been created over time, there's maybe there's complexity to them, but Mickey is just so simple. He's a sweetheart. He's nice. He can be shy. And I love just bringing that personality to life. There haven't been many times where I've made a Mickey that looks angry because Mickey's always happy. And so Mickey would be number one. Number two is always going to be Snow White because Snow White is my favorite Disney movie. To me, that was the best they've ever done. And they've done great movies. Don't get me wrong, but they have never, in my opinion, been able to eclipse that movie. Beauty and the Beast comes very close for me. But there's just something about Snow White that's just, again, I guess it's just the simplicity of the story. It's just this woman is beautiful. Well, this woman is beautiful. Well, you can't be more beautiful than I am, so get her the heck out of here. And just the simplicity of that, and just the idea of I've got now I have these 7 personalities that are so unique, and when I can do the dwarfs to show that different personality in the drawing or in the sculpture, that is so much fun.
Very good.
I have an affinity for Donald for sure, because Donald definitely has this range, right? I would rather do Donald angry than happy. That to me is a little more fun, but some people just want him just smiling, and that's fine too.
Right.
Um, uh, I I am a big fan of some of the earlier Pixar work. I see one of them up there that I just did recently, the Ratatouille, the Remy and Linguini there. I really like to do stuff from Finding Nemo. I've done quite a few. I've done quite a few sculptures from Finding Nemo. Uh, and that's another one of those movies that just has this amazing relationship,
Hmm.
right? A lot of emotion. And I gotta round this out with a fifth one, and I'm thinking, you know what? I have something back here.
Oh, I love show and tell.
I do love to do the villains. Everybody loves villains. But actually, you know what? Real quick,
Go
you
for
said
it.
I love to do the villains. Here, move this over here. You can
Oh,
see.
wow.
Oh
What?
Now
my
that
goodness.
now this one is particularly fun. This was actually this was a prototype for something that I was going to do with Disney, and it didn't happen. But I did a whole series of these. The villain was always in the center, and she is 3 dimensional. That she's actually a sculpture that
Yeah.
is
Wow.
connected to the wood. This is wood that I painted on, and yeah, so she's on there, and I did a whole series of those. I think I did 7 or 8 different characters, but I love do the villains. But you know, it's also just fun to do real cute stuff. So I'll do a lot of Chippendale stuff, which is fun.
Oh, it's
You
cute.
know,
Yeah, they have a
just
lot of
just
character
Very cute.
charisma for those two.
we just love these little guys.
Those are some great characters. I love that. If you're watching tonight, I want to remind everybody that all of Gary's links are in the chat, throughout the chat, and also put in the section of the information section on the video. Click on him, give him a follow. If you'd like to get a piece from him, or you'd like him to give you a quote on a piece, he can do sculptures or art for just about any character. And as he said, they're all one-to-one. It'll be something for your home that'll be absolutely spectacular, which is a great lead in. And if you're new tonight, subscribe here with us, because we interview Disney artists, authors, animators, and Imagineers all the time. I want everybody to listen. This is a big one here for those of you at home. Gary does something that is incredibly fun. I want to shift gears and talk about what you do over in your socials, the raffles you host that give people the opportunity to acquire one of your pieces. Sometimes with the entry starting at just as simple as $5. I think these are ingenious. They're a lot of fun. I've watched a bunch of them. Can you spend a few minutes explaining how that process works and how fans
Yeah,
can participate?
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, those kind of happened by accident, actually. Um, because I do a lot of what I called studies, where I just bang a couple pieces out in a day, and trying new techniques, new light, stuff like that. That isn't necessarily for someone, but they can pile up around here, and so if you are someone that follows me, I will accept your friend request. Of course, I will. I do these about every other day. And usually there's 1 or 2 new pieces in the raffle. There's anywhere from 8 to 15 pieces that are available. So what happens is there'll be a certain amount of spots for a certain price. As Pete said, sometimes they're $5. If there's less spots, that might be 10 or $15. And yeah, when it's full, I just go on something like random.org and put all the names in, and I run it, and the name that comes up on top, they get their choice. So you get your choice of one of my pieces, and yeah, it could have only been $5, and I'll send it your way. So those are fun. I don't make a lot of money on anything like that, but I do that because it's been great for me to reach a following. People have gone on to admire my work, which I really appreciate. Again, a lot of friends
Hmm.
I've made through this, and there's people, they just like, hey, when's the next one? So I really enjoy that for sure.
This piece, Main Street piece. as I was going through all of your artwork. I had not seen this one until I started, really setting down. This piece is absolutely stunning. Stunning.
Thank you.
To have it on your on a wall. Jen, you and I both have a love for the castle and the Fab Five, which of course you got the Fab Six there with with Daisy there. Doug will be upset that Daisy's in the picture, but I'm sorry, she's part of it. The use, what to me, it's not just the castle; it's the colors of the castle and the correct colors of the castle in my mind, but the highlights
Oh
of Main
yes.
Street with the lighting on Main Street and everything. Jen, I know when you saw this just a minute ago, you had to be like I was when I first saw it. Oh my God.
I was thinking about that. I love the detail of the trash cans. Normally when you see a painting of Main Street, you don't see any trash cans, but they're there, and we love the trash cans. So I'm glad that it's there.
We
The
love the
other thing I
trash
love
can.
is
I've been trying to acquire one.
we've
I want a
we've
trash
all
can.
used
I've been
trash
trying to buy
cans.
one.
You've been trying to buy one of the Disney trash
I've been
cans?
trying to buy a Disney trash can for 20 years. I can never find one.
You know where you
I
gotta
want
look?
one.
Jen, where's that place that Nate goes, that mall that's down
Oh,
there?
I go there. I go there.
They haven't
Lakewood.
had them? I'm
Oh, the
shocked.
Haven't seen
recycling the
one yet.
magic,
All right. We'll have to keep
Yeah.
recycling the magic.
if anybody goes over there and you see one, you need to get in touch with Gary because they got to be out there somewhere,
Mhm,
I'd imagine. All right,
mhm,
let's.
mhm,
I gotta
Oh my gosh,
stop.
it's so funny. Isn't that the silliest thing? How you
We
mhm.
I'd put one in my house. I wouldn't care what my wife says. That's a Disney trash can. I'd actually eat off of it and watch TV. What are you talking about? Just
It's a Disney trash can. It's not just a trash
It's a
can.
table,
Right.
make it right at home. Make it right at home. Oh
like a
God,
tray table in front of the TV.
there you go.
Okay. Well, I want to take a moment to talk about your
Yep.
personal Disney collection. I understand you have a very passionate collection that is influenced by some incredible Disney legends like the Nine Old Men, Mary Blair, Glenn Keane, and Howard
Oh
Ashman.
yeah.
That's just to name a few. Could you share a little bit about this passion in your life and what it means to you
Yep.
as both a fan and an artist?
Oh, 100%. I mean, what a group that you have right there. I mean, that group has molded this Disney that we've all loved our entire lives. What a group right there. My goodness, I'm sure a lot of fans know this. I know you guys know this. In the '80s, the company was not doing so great. The movies
Yeah.
were not doing what they once did, and they bring in Howard Ashman. And they bring in, obviously Alan Menken was a big deal, and that the
Hmm.
gentleman that they were Glenn Keane as part of the whole Eisner um, um,
Renaissance.
regime.
Yeah.
Yep, Renaissance, the Renaissance era. Oh, by the way, if you've never seen the documentary "Waking Sleeping Beauty" on Disney Plus, I recommend it. That tells that story, and it's unbelievable, and it's not very long. But Howard Ashman, we'll start with him. That guy right there had only lived to be 41,
Whoa.
and all that he did, but he brought all that back. So in my collection, if there's anything that he touched, you think about Beauty and the Beast and Ariel, that has a personal connection for me. Glenn Keane, we know all the amazing characters he designed. He designed what the Beast looked like. He
Hmm.
drew Aladdin. He did all this stuff. I mean, this guy, I mean, his Ariel, oh my gosh, right? And then you come down here to Mary Blair. I don't have any Mary Blair pieces, and boy, I wish I did. They're hard to come by, very
Yes, they
expensive.
are.
But her use of color and imagination, I have some pieces that are from Small World and stuff like that were inspired by her. Um, but the mark that she left on Disney is just unbelievable.
Hmm.
Everybody thinks about Small World, but the huge wall in the Contemporary that you see there with the tiles, with
Yep.
her design. Um, but boy, these charcoals, these pastels, these paintings that she would do just to inspire the artists.
Mhm.
Some of them are up in that picture of the nine men there, nine old men. She may be my favorite Disney artist ever. And the nine old men, when I'm working on a character, I want them to look like they wanted them to look.
Love that.
Um, and so my collection is mostly vintage stuff. It's the older stuff. I mean, there's so many things that come out today that are limited edition, whatever, and that's fine. But I want to have the older stuff, the stuff that they had their hands on. But in my collection, my most important piece is a piece that I got with my father when I was a little boy,
Okay.
and he kept everything. He's one of these guys that, okay, we buy two of this toy, you play with this one, I'm putting this one away. This was my dad. And so we went to this big flea market in Burton, Ohio. Burton used to have the greatest flea market twice a year, June, once in September. And we would go around circles trying to find stuff. And we found this little bank, okay? This little bank from 1933. And it's a leather case and it has Mickey embossed into it, okay?
Wow.
And so it's metal and it's wrapped in leather from 1933. And these were actually given out when you would go open a bank account. It wasn't just
Oh,
Disney characters on this. They could have Popeye or what have you. And it was for the kid to take home so they could learn how to start saving money. And you put money in the top, and when it was full, you went back to the bank and they had the key. They would open it and you would put that money and have your first savings account.
okay.
And we got this for like $6. It doesn't have a ton of value. Maybe it's worth $50, but it's just one of those things that means so much because it was me and my dad.
I love it.
Mhm.
I absolutely love it. That's fantastic influences, and amazing. And Mary Blair,
Oh yeah.
amazing. You look at the one thing
Mhm.
I love about Disney history, is Walt had the insight at a time when women were not featured in those fields to feature her and Alice Davis and so many others, that did along with it. I love that part. And what doing somebody, my partner, she likes Small World just a little bit, so works out kind of good. Well, here's a great this I figured I'd finish up here with this picture and set my partner afloat here with a couple of her favorite characters and of course one of mine. But I want to talk about the future as we look into the future, Gary. Just thinking about your aspirations and bigger picture where you want to go with your artistic journey. What are your goals for yourself and kind of ultimately where would you like to see your work and your creative path in the years ahead?
Yeah, I mean, if I never become a official Disney artist, if I'm never at the Festival of the Arts, I think that would be a shame.
I
But
agree.
does, if it doesn't happen, that's okay because I feel like I'm doing something that people enjoy. I make people happy, make people smile. My granddaughter always gets the best presents. That's okay, but I want to keep evolving. I want to keep evolving. I keep on getting better. We all, no matter how good we are at something, I think we can get better and try new things. And I hope that I can just keep doing that. I'm very
Mhm.
lucky that I've been embraced by so many, and I have so many friends. And if I can keep doing that, that's pretty successful.
I would definitely agree. Jen, before I jump over and start to hit some highlights of socials and pull a close together, Figment with Orangeburg.
I
Unbelievable.
was just thinking that. I know. Yeah, you don't usually see them together very
Yep.
often.
And how many
And I
times?
love that look on Figment's face. I love the smile. It's just so happy, and I can look past the yellow eyeballs. That's the one thing about him I don't particularly care for, but that is just a
It's a
great
good
piece.
point. Thank you. And that's a great point though about
Mhm.
his eyes because every time
Mhm.
I do any character, the last thing I
Mhm.
paint are the eyes. And when I'm painting
Mhm.
the eyes, before I put the yellow on there, I actually think he looks better. I'm with you.
There
Mhm.
you go. Uh,
I agree.
also, also here, his piece. You and I talk all the time about. Well, we never see Mickey with the brooms and how they're a key part of that whole thing. And here's a great one with Mickey with the brooms, which is awesome. And then I
Mhm.
couldn't not finish one of our slides here without Miss Jessica Rabbit there, looking ready to go, as I would say. So let's
Ready to go.
she's
Ready
ready
to
to go.
go somewhere.
She's ready to go somewhere. Absolutely. You can find our good friend Gary on Instagram, Insta
Mhm.
Disney Art. Everybody, Insta Disney Art over there. It's 42,000 people, and they can't be wrong when you got that many people following. So go over there and check him out on Instagram. Give him a follow. Keep up, and a great way to reach out if you'd like a piece for yourself. He also has a website. We've been dropping that in throughout the night. You can get over there and keep up with both sides of his business if you'd like to and reach out in any shape, way, or form. And of course, Facebook as well, with 4,000 followers. There's
Mhm.
Chippendale right there, holding the pass. So whatever your socials are, you can get over there. As we look at Pluto. I love it. I love that's a great one of Pluto.
Mhm,
As we
mhm.
finish out, we always try to do a final thought of the night before we highlight next guest on the channel. So, Gary, I'll throw it over to you first. Final thought of the night from tonight's interview.
My final thought for tonight is, in this crazy world that keeps us on our toes every day, and seems to distract us from what really matters, try to keep our heads out of that and pay more attention to things like this that make us smile, hug everybody we love, tell them you love
Mhm.
them, and, just be happy
I love it.
if you
I
can.
love it. I love it. Very nice. Jen?
Well, my final thought in the night is to all of the Disney fine art executives that are probably not watching this interview, but hopefully are. Look at this guy. Get him to the festival. Come on, you guys. I mean, this is amazing art and it deserves to be shared and hanging on everybody's wall that's a Disney fan. So I'm really hoping for you that it
Thank you.
develops and that you get there. And I would love to be able to see you at the festival one day. And to close out, I'm just going to say in Cleveland, when you're a sports fan, there's always next year.
That's our tagline.
There you go. Uh, I want to finish out with Gary by a couple things. One, I want to remind everybody again, the socials are out there. If you need a piece, if you're looking for a piece, the best way you can help an artist who's out there practicing the craft that they love is to support them by choosing them to put on your wall. And I couldn't think of another artist that would be better from our community to do that with when
Mhm.
than Gary and the people we've talked with, of course. Secondly, I want to say thank you to Gary for coming on here with us tonight and sharing some of his story and how things have grown and changed for him. As I mentioned, and I think the mods have been dropping the link in there. It was 5 years ago from our first interview. They've been actually dropping that link into the chat. I want to thank you for your
Wow,
support.
5 years.
Hard to believe. Yeah, hard to believe. I want to thank you for your support. Also, obviously, support for our charity. Friendship to me is something that is an incredible gift that God gives us and allows us to either take and to build upon or to set to the side and miss an opportunity. We hope that it's built upon on most times. The fact that you were kind enough back when I was just a guy who was coming out of a hospital who didn't really know if he wanted to do this or not, but I happened to kind of like what the sculptures you were doing, and you took the time to come on that night with me, is always something that sat with me. And as I stated earlier,
Oh,
for those who missed it, Gary was kind of the inspiration, honestly, for kind of where this show was. And the one thing I said after our interview, and I don't know if you remember this or not. I said, I like doing this, but I think I need a little more. I think I need somebody else to do it with me to make it the flow a little bit better. I remember we had that discussion, and then I found this young lady, and now dialogues has kind of flourished. So I believe you pay people back for what you do. I've been blessed, Gary, with us doing this to get to know several of those key people with Disney Fine Art. And I can tell you at the end of tonight, after this video renders, an email will be going out to them again saying how special of an artist that I found. And I would ask them to take a look at our interview tonight and take a look at some of the work you do, some that you've already done for Disney over in Denmark, and hopefully consider you as somebody of an artist of aspiration for somewhere down the road. Don't know if it'll help, but at least if I can get you in front of some eyes, then I'll feel like I've done something more. So that's my
well,
thank you
thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you
So,
so much, my friends. I appreciate you. Yes, it's been great watching your show grow as well. That's fantastic. I mean, I'm rooting for you for sure.
except for 2 games a year when we play the Browns, but I get that. I get the same thing down in the left corner, so it works out well.
Understood.
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 Hang tight backstage for real quick. Jen and I are going to finish up. We'll be right back. We'll chat before we get out the door. Gary Pilla, everybody. Jen, look at these sculptures right here. Look at Iron Man right here, and
Mhm.
Jiminy Cricket.
Yep.
This is that. What a fun interview. What a fun
I'm
interview.
still thinking about the piece of the villains where it was 3D and
3D.
2D
Yeah.
together. Like, I'm gonna say, I didn't see anything like that at the festival this past year.
So, uh, um, hold on. Am I allowed to acknowledge that? Sorry, I just had to ask about a text I just received. Um, yeah, that coming out of the wood. coming
Mhm.
off of wood and coming out.
Mhm.
You know what it reminded
I
me of?
mean, her eyes just, I mean, they were
You, you, you,
they were right there. It was an amazing piece.
you know what I love is if you look at that piece, you know when we go to villains and they have everything's in portraits for the show around and they're
Mhm.
showing portraits of it reminds me of something right off of the Disney stage. Like
Oh,
you
yeah,
could
for
take
sure.
that and put that right on the Disney stage. I asked permission to acknowledge this because I thought it was important. Everybody in our community has gotten to know Nemad recently, another Disney fan artist who does a lot of great work, a lot of charity work. He's gives out a ton of art to a lot of people. He
Mhm.
just sent me a text, and this is verbatim the text. This Gary is my new favorite artist. He reminds me of me, only he has much
Whoa.
better art. Wow. Well done interview. There you go. That's one artist to another saying somebody's
It is.
spectacular. I love that. Speaking of
Mhm.
spectacular, Jen, I'd be remiss if I didn't say real quick, Dr. Jeffrey Barnes is coming here to the
Mhm.
channel, and we are very excited. If you don't know Dr. Jeffrey Barnes, he is the author behind The Wisdom of Walt Leadership Lessons from the Happiest Place on Earth and Beyond the Wisdom of Walt Life Lessons from the Magical Place on Earth. This is an artist that is going to take Walt and Disney in a whole different area for us and talk to us
Mhm.
about what we can learn from Disney in our business lives and in our personal lives. That he
Mhm.
does. He lectures. He's a professor. He has a doctorate. He is a professor. He lectures on Disney property at Disney events. How cool
Very
is
cool.
that? So I'm very excited. So uh, I've had a great show tonight. Thank you for being here, and
Thank you.
can't wait till the next time we do this. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been Disney Dialogues on behalf of Miss
Mhm.
Monorail Molly and myself. We thank you for sitting down and having a few dialogues with us tonight and our guests. We hope you'll take a look at everything Gary does and come back on a future show. And with that, we'll say we'll see you next time on the show. Good
Mhm.
night, everybody.